Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and wow, we got an absolutely fantastic show coming your way. The topic that we don't talk about that much, and should be talked about quite often, but sometimes we let our guards down, meaning the world, and certain things just happen, and we just push other things to the side. But I think what we're talking about today is so important, so relevant because a lot of kids, a lot of folks uh, are caught up in this thing called bullying. I tell you what, first of all, I want to pair both the television and radio streaming networks are live, all these live networks up at the same time. So, Chris, let's do it. Chris, I guess that we're not in sync with the radio station right now. Hey, Chris, can you hear us? Well, I'll tell you what, Michelle, until
Well, I
Chris
can
come
hear
on.
you.
Hey guys,
Hi, Chris.
Hey, hey, Chris, let's do it. Let's get everything matched up. Television, radio, and all of that. Let's do it.
you ready to go?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
It's Your Life is sponsored by James J.C. Cooley.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phases and stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. James is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the James Cooley Foundation. James is here to equip you to strive for greatness and to overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now here's the host of It's Your Life, James Cooley.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley. Wow. Okay, we got an absolutely fantastic show coming your way. We got this topic, Chris, and I think you're still there. Got this topic that sometimes we don't talk about that much because other things we have put above this. And this is one of the most important things that I believe that we need to be talking about. We're talking about bullying, especially among our youth, uh, kids, and just people in general. Chris, are you there? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'll
Okay.
tell you my thoughts. My thoughts are that, we don't talk about that enough on the show. And, people, this has been going on for like forever. The issue of bullying. And we have a guest today who is going to talk to us about a report data that was communicated and created regarding bullying in the states that had the most, I would say, high instances of bullying. So we're really excited about that today.
I'm excited about that because Michelle, you already know that we do need to talk about that. We need to bring awareness, and this is one of the ways that we can do this because I believe that every family has some members that is affected by this, and we kind of let it go, under the rug and not talk about it, and I tell you, I believe that it affects the lives of our youth and young adults and kids in general and growing up, and also determining what their development is going to be like because when you're being bullied and you living in fear of whatever that might means, that's got to be very uncomfortable. So I tell you, if you want to be part of the conversation, if you want to, you can pick up the phone down 1-866-577-2473. That's KCBQ AM 1170 The Answer, San Diego, FM 96.1. The Answer out of San Diego, and you can be part of this great conversation. So Michelle, I tell you, let's get started.
Yes. Well, today's topic is WalletHub study. California ranks among the top 10 states with bullying problems. And we're having a conversation with personal finance writer and editor at WalletHub, Christy Matherne. And we're going to talk about how California is the state with the biggest bullying problems. It ranks #1. It ranks first for bullying prevalence, fifth for bullying impact and treatment, and 37th for anti-bullying laws. Christy's going to talk about each category and some of the metrics where California ranks low and discuss California's anti-bullying laws. So to tell you a little bit about our guest today, Christy has been a personal finance writer and editor at WalletHub for over 4 years. She enjoys hiking, crafting, and crunching data. Christy Matherne covers credit cards as a writer and editor for WalletHub. She entered print journalism as entertainment editor of a Baton Rouge College Weekly at the start of her major rebranding operation in 2011. There, she honed story development work with freelancers in a wide range of sources and interviewed celebrities like John Waters and Ice Cube. Her bylines can be found in 64 Parishes, Country Roads Magazine, Scalawag, The Advocate, and many more. Years of freelancing later, Matherne took further interest in all aspects of personal finance when she began shopping for her first home. As a freelancer, she faced financial challenge in the real estate market, so she set out to improve her financial situation. But today, she's going to be talking about the special report that WalletHub did on bullying. So please welcome to the show, Christy Matherne.
Welcome to the show, Christy. How you doing?
Hi.
How you doing?
Thanks for bringing me on.
Well, looking forward to this. It's like you heard in the intro that this is not a topic that is well discussed because I believe people have swept it under the carpet, and that's not good.
Right. It should be talked about a little more, but it's very important.
Yeah, Chris, can you tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit more about you, where you grew up, what your passions are, and just tell us about this writing thing, because it seems like it's very, very important at what you're doing.
Oh, thanks. Well, I'm from Baton Rouge, and it's suburb Denham Springs. I lived there until I was about 27 or so, and I knew very early on that I wanted to be a writer. I went to college for creative writing, and I ended up writing more nonfiction than fiction. So journalism kind of naturally fell in my lap, and I think it's the most fun thing in the world to tell a story, to illustrate reality, to pull people into facts and tell something important to the world. So that's what my passion is.
So you always wanted to be a journalist. What is the most important thing about your career field that encourage you to wake up every day, come up with all these different ideas, and just make sure that you're able to convey your message to your readers or to your audience?
Well, the most important thing, in my opinion, is that journalism has a clear purpose. It is very important, especially in the world today where there's so much information flying around and the fact checkers are going extinct, like it is really important job in this day and age, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Your bio states that you are a personal financial writer. What exactly does a personal financial writer? What you do?
I think the term is intentionally broad. We focus a lot of things at WalletHub. So I started in the credit cards arena, and so most of my job for several years was reading credit card terms and trying to make sense of them, trying to answer user questions in a simple way that doesn't sound like a contract. And we basically simplify complicated ideas with a high level of accuracy. So that's pretty much what I do.
What type of company is WalletHub? I know it's dealing with finance, but what exactly does the company do, and why it's important that people understand a little bit more about that line of business?
Well, WalletHub is a personal finance website. We offer the ability to compare different products, different financial products at similar metrics. So if you can compare, say, 2 car insurance policies by the same 8 metrics, then it's a lot easier to compare by visiting the website of this or the other. It basically evens the playing field and lets you make important, informed financial decisions for yourself. And it also, you can sign up for an account and get your free credit score, get kind of a snapshot of your financial situation at any given day. And we also, like my department, builds studies and articles to answer very common user questions about all kinds of things. Anything from debt to, we're talking about a study about bullying today, which does have a financial component actually. So personal finance is very personal. So it goes into a lot of areas.
So you guys deal with a lot of different areas, a lot of different sectors, and
Yeah.
explaining from a financial point of view. Growing up in Louisiana, did you always think that you would be doing this type of work?
Oh, I had no idea, I think crunching data has always been kind of attractive to me. So it does make sense why I ended up here. But I also really love taking raw data and building a compelling story out of it, because it's hard to read a bunch of numbers and get interested. So
You're absolutely right. So I tell you what, we're going to take a station break, but we're going to come back and we're going to pick it up. We're going to continue this great conversation with Christy, and we're going to talk about this bullying thing. So if you want to be part of the conversation, whichever platform that you're watching this on, all you have to do is just go to the comments, ask any question that you might have. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
Hi, I'm Todd Pierce, producer of the James.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? And everything that you do.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. Dr. Cooley is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, Dr. James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life, and I tell you, we got an absolutely fantastic guest here that's sharing a lot of things with us, especially as it relates to finance, reporting, and etc. We're going to talk about bullying shortly, and we're going to talk about the states with the highest bullying rate and things that go into determining how you get on that list. I tell you, so if you want to be part of the conversation, whichever platform that you're watching this on or listening to it on, all you have to do is just go to the comments and ask any question that you might have, or you can just pick up the phone, dial 1-866-577-2473. So turn it to you, Dr. Cooley.
Thank you. Christy. So, WalletHub released its report on 2023 states with the biggest bullying problems and also expert commentary. Before we go into details regarding the report, why did WalletHub do research on this specific topic?
Well, simple answer is because it's really important and it's also really common. About 20% of students aged 12 to 18 experience some form of bullying today, whether it's in person or online or both. And our schools also take a financial hit from bullying. Research shows that schools lose millions of dollars when attendance goes down due to bullying, whether kids are staying home because they're afraid to come. Mm-hmm. So a lot of school funding is based in part on attendance numbers. Okay. So it is a financial aspect too. And people who get bullied have adverse socioeconomic outcomes, both for the bullies and the bullied.
What about this? So, before we get into the financial aspect of bullying, according to the report, there are various forms that bullying takes. Can you kind of explain to the audience some of the forms that bullying takes according to the report?
Yes. So physical violence is the most obvious one. And for our report, we used rates of physical violence that happen at school property, on school property. And you also have rumor spreading and insults, which can result in psychological damage. And you have cyberbullying, which is this huge swath now of Facebook and Instagram and all kinds of virtual pressures that we haven't seen in previous decades,
So according to this report, 47 states were part of this research report, and 47 states and the District of Columbia used. What happened to the other states and why weren't they excluded from this report?
Minnesota, Oregon, and Washington were the states that we excluded, and this was due to data limitations. We didn't feel like it would do the study justice if we included them, because it wouldn't give them a fair score if we only had partial data to go on.
Okay. So according to this report, the state of California ranked number 1 amongst the biggest bullying problems. So it ranks number 1 for bullying prevalence, 5th for bullying impact and treatment, and 37 for anti-bullying laws. Let's discuss why the state ranks number 1 in bullying prevalence and kind of talk to us about what bullying prevalence means.
Well, 23.5% of high school students who were bullied on school property, which is that ranks 3rd for the highest rate. And bullying prevalence is basically how common it is in the state. It's the physical violence rate, which is on school property, as I said before, the cyberbullying rate, and bullying incidents on school property overall, even the ones that don't necessarily involve violence. And 14.7% of public school students in grades 9 through 12, they reported having been in a physical fight at least one time. And that's that number 1 ranking for violence.
Wow. So what about bullying impact and treatment? I mean, we know what impact and treatment, what those words mean, but what does it mean by bullying impact and treatment according to the study?
So that category has metrics such as the share of students who missed school due to fear of bullying, feelings of sadness or hopelessness within the students. So that's part of the impact. The rate of high school suicide attempts, and how in the treatment part involves how victims are treated, such as how many psychologists there are per capita, the student to counselor ratio of a school, the cost of truancy for schools due to bullying. These are all impact and treatment based.
Now, we know that there are states that have anti-bullying laws, and surprise is that California ranks 37th for anti-bullying laws. Why is that? And also, do they not have a lot of laws, or the laws are not being adhered to? Can you kind of explain to the audience regarding that?
Sure. So it mostly has to do with the share of secondary schools that engage in practices related to LGBTQ youth, where they rank 34th, and the share of secondary schools with practices in place to prevent bullying and sexual harassment, where they rank 17th. So California actually does have a lot of anti-bullying laws. California has a lot of anti-bullying laws and regulations that address both on-campus bullying and cyberbullying, including cyber sexual bullying. So that's pretty much why it ranks so 37th.
Wow. Were you and people at WalletHub who did this research, were you surprised that California was ranked #1, or in your mind you just thought it was going to be some other state? And can you kind of go into what the second state is, and people will be surprised? But let's just start with the first question. Were you shocked that the state of California was ranked #1?
I was a little shocked. It's not necessarily before this study, I didn't really know a lot about what went into bullying and bullying rates around the country. But I think we all have our own ideas about this, even though we don't know for sure what encompasses it. So I think I was a little surprised, but I'm not exactly sure what I was expecting either.
Okay. Tell us about the state of Alaska.
Yeah, so surprisingly enough, the state of Alaska is second in our ranking, and it's not by much at all. So the total score for California out of 100 was 62.53, and Alaska's was 62.28, and the next one down is Nevada at 93.12. So it's really a close match between California and Alaska, believe it or not.
Wow. I don't think I would have thought of Alaska, but now
Right.
when the report like this is available, it's available online. Is this report data? Is it like sent to anybody within the state of California just to let them know, okay, according to this data research, this is what we've come up with? I mean, I guess the goal is to alleviate this problem, this issue of bullying. So are these results shared with anybody in the state?
I'm not exactly sure if they are shared at an official level, but I do know we get interview requests from all over, and a lot of news agencies ask us to talk about these results. So I think they do get around for sure.
Okay. So I know we talked about bullying impact and treatment, anti-bullying laws, bullying prevalence. Are there any other metrics or dimensions that are used in this report regarding the research and that we would definitely be interested in?
Yeah, I think some of the major metrics that we use are the impact and treatment for sure. Like, we used 20 metrics for this study across 3 dimensions. So all 20 metrics fit into one of these 3 categories, basically. And our metrics were like cyberbullying rate, like I mentioned before, bullying incidents on school property. We have students who miss school, like the rate of absenteeism due to bullying, and access.
But I encourage you, hold that thought. We'll pick it back up when we get back and tell you. This is such a great discussion. And I know that we all tune in because we need to try to figure out how to control this. And when we come back, Chris is going to tell us about the states with the most bullying and the states with the least bullying. So if you want to be part of this great conversation, all you do is just go to the platform that you're watching or listening to it on and ask any question that you might have. Remember, it's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
Dr. James J.C. Cooley from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be honored to be in the Coffee Book 2023, Unified Brain Z, and the other organizations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection. Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life, and we're talking about bullying. We're talking about the impacts of bullying, and we're talking about the data that goes into determining which states have the, I call it, the most major problems as relate to this topic. And Christy is just coaching us along and helping us out and identifying data. Because I think it's important to all of us. And so if you want to be part of the conversation, all you do is just go to the comments or wherever platform you're watching this on, or pick up the phone and dial 1-866-577-2473, and my main man Chris at the studio, radio studio, will put you through. So, Christy, something that bothers me is, and I'm curious, that's been on my mind for like 3-4 minutes, is what are the top 10 least states that your report talks about, and the top 10, we already know California ranked number one, but the top 10 state with the biggest problem. Can you explain that to our viewers and our listeners?
Explain what exactly the difference is between them?
No, I'm talking about the states that got the most bullying and got the least bullying.
Okay.
So I know a lot of listeners probably want to know, like, is my state part of this bullying war campaign?
Yeah. So the states that rank the worst with bullying are California, Alaska, Nevada, New Jersey, Louisiana, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Wisconsin, Oklahoma, and Wyoming. Those are our top 10.
Well,
And
you remember those? I mean, you named those 10 off. Like, okay, yeah, it's boom, 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 boom.
those are the ones.
And why? I know you was explaining to Michelle. Why do you think those states are more prevalent to bullying than others?
That's a great question, and it is not something we studied specifically for this. You could say it has something to do with the laws, which are based exactly the same as, like, number one means, like, if you're number one in anti-bullying laws, that doesn't mean you're the best. It means it's the worst. So, one common thing that a lot of the worst states have in common with each other is low bullying laws, except for California. They seem to have a good bit. So it's weighted differently. The bullying impact and treatment metric, we see lower numbers in New Jersey and Louisiana and Pennsylvania and Georgia. So that's where those states are lacking. And bullying prevalence is high in all 10 of the top 10. So basically they have a lot of bullying. It's hard to measure why exactly. That is a good question that we should be asking more.
And so what are the top 10 least bullying states?
The least bullied states are
yeah.
We have the top 10 is Delaware,
Mm.
Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and we did include the District of Columbia as a state here. Maine, Utah, Indiana, Virginia, New Mexico, New York, and South Dakota. Those are our least bullied states. And they're doing pretty well, obviously. Delaware is dead last in bullying prevalence. So they seem to have it under control. So whatever they are doing is wonderful. Their impact and treatment metric is 45th out of 48, and their anti-bullying laws are 42nd. So they're doing a pretty good job of managing their bullying problem. So that's just one example.
Why wouldn't other states that got these major problems look at those states, look at the laws, look at the things that they are doing and try to emulate those?
Oh gosh, I wish we could ask these states that, but I can tell you what the best indicators are for, like, good outcomes for bullying. They are these states that are not doing so well could look at how easily accessible research-based anti-bullying programs are, safe schools, like making sure their schools are safe. Schools the students need to report feeling a sense of community and belonging. So that's something that a school that is hurting in bullying could start to work on, is building this community and camaraderie inside of their schools to prevent things like this. And diversity, equity, and inclusion statements and commitments, those are all very important and seem to be one of those 5 indicators of a positive environment.
So, do you believe that it's things in the communities? I don't know if the report mentioned anything about that, what the communities can do to, bring down those incidents among communities. What are some of the things, or did you identify any of those things that communities can do to work with the government, local, state, and federal government to help get this under control?
We did ask our experts at the end of our study. We asked a few people who are well versed in this stuff if they could give us some tips on how to combat this. And some of the common things that they mentioned are research-based training for teachers and administrators and other school personnel, encouraging state and local governments to focus on mental health services for youth specifically. These things could be done. I'm sure a lot more could be done at the community level too, as you were saying, to create after-school clubs, to create things for these kids to do that aren't, hurtful.
So what issues did the Association for Psychology Science found that those who are bullied and victim of both are more likely to experience other things?
Bullies and victims are both more likely to experience poverty, academic failure, and in adulthood, job termination, and abuse of drug and alcohol. Like drugs and alcohol play a part in these things too, even if it's later. And they're more likely to get fired from a job in their adulthood. And this is both sides, both the bullies and the victims.
So is the companies, do they get together, or do in certain states and talk about these things? Because you mentioned something about diversity, equity, inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's so important. And I know it's many organizations are trying to get away from that for political reasons.
Yes.
Which is going to make things even worse, because people want to belong, feel that they belong in a certain environment, certain situation. And you have people that might not believe in that, and they do all they can to disrupt that, to make people feel that they're not. And that I think that's a form of bullying. What are your thoughts?
Oh yes, absolutely. The more people feel included, and the more people understand acceptance and diversity, equity, and inclusion are very much part of that. The less idea that a bully has in their head that they need to make fun of someone for these things. So yeah. I agree.
I think that you was right when you said certain states got certain laws and certain things that help eliminate that. But I tell you, station break. I'm enjoying this conversation. If you want to be part of the conversation, when we get back from the break, all you have to do is go to the platform that you listen and watch it on, ask any question, comment that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity. Coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
fight again. And if you want my opinion, I let it take me away. Only relief is the four on the floor and the crowd that goes, turn it up, 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 turn it up.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I'll tell you, this is such an important topic that we're talking about and that we're discussing, and we're understanding how certain things happen, how evaluating bullying in certain states, and how prevalent it is in some and different in others because of the laws and the governing system. And Christy is sharing all that information with us, and it's so important. So, hey, Christy, we want to talk a little bit about how does schools take a financial hit as it relates to bullying?
Well, it's an interesting thing to explore because that's not something you would initially consider as an effect of bullying. But the metric we use to calculate cost in this study is the attendance rate. Funding for school districts in the United States is calculated partially based on attendance in schools and average attendance rate. If students are chronically absent from school because they feel like they are unsafe or they're being targeted, the attendance rate is going to suffer. So in other words, more kids skipping school means the school gets less money. So there is a financial impact.
So there is a financial impact. So what are the considerations that goes into that? I mean, just like states, when states start losing people,
Right.
From a government perspective, I believe in everything that I've heard, that government funding that the federal government provide to the states and schools and districts and communities is based on the population that's there. And a lot of things I believe is affected by the population of bullying, not having right laws in place, and where crimes and all that, and people just want to go to a safe state, flee.
Right.
Case in point, California.
Yeah.
I mean, California, they trying to do everything they can. They trying to charge you to leave the state. You want, I think, can you believe that?
Yeah.
And a lot of the things, and I live in California, so I ain't gonna say too much about California. I live in California and I live in Texas, so we live in both. But the schools, as we know, just like what you just said, it takes a hit because of the population decrease in that school or that district, that community. And bullying is one of the main reasons why most families are trying to get to places where they feel safe and that their kids, grandkids, and etc. feel safe. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's really important for state governments especially to understand that it's in everyone's best interest to make schools feel safer to these kids. And the reason that financial impact is highlighted here is to highlight the importance of having a safe environment for kids. It creates better outcomes altogether. It makes people stay where they are because they're happy where they are. And yeah, I generally agree with you. If people feel safe, if families feel safer sending their kids to school, the school benefits from that attendance rate. They get the full amount of funding that they need to do their jobs and to make it a good environment for children.
And so I think it's extremely important that our leaders, city leaders, community leaders, everyone understand this, because I believe that a lot of people have simple minds, meaning that they just look at things and say, not affecting my kid, not affecting this, not affecting that.
Right.
But they don't understand that your taxes, especially I can speak for California. I can speak for Texas. Texas is one of the safest states in as when it comes to kids, because most of the school districts here, there's a ratio of 16 students to every one teacher. And
Wow.
not only not only that, but bullying, the bullying factors as it relate to those classrooms, just I wouldn't say it's non-existent, but you got 16 students in a class to one teacher who is very protected of them, who have a lot more interest in teaching and making sure that each one of them learn what they need to. And he also is giving them more and more time, which reduces the crime rate, reduces bullying rate, it increases self-esteem, and it also brings money to the community, to the school. So every state is probably not like that, but I can tell you that where we are at, that's how that is.
And this is Texas you're talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
Where do Texas rank on the bullying list?
I just looked it up while you were talking about that. And Texas came in 17th out of 48. So,
Okay.
So Texas has a, let's see, give me 1 second here. Yeah, so bullying prevalence in California ranked first. In Texas, bullying prevalence is 27th. So there's definitely like less bullying overall in Texas, but what they didn't score well on was bullying impact and treatment. So that's where Texas could improve.
I'm not saying that every city in Texas. I'm just saying that the districts that invest money into the school. Now, I'm not saying every school district and throughout the state of Texas is a ratio of 16 to 1.
That's pretty great. That is a pretty great ratio.
Yes. And so what factors, what are some of the main factors that that we need to take in consideration when it comes to putting a child at risk. I'm talking about a parent, a community. When it comes to identifying which type of environment, which schools that we are going to, or which communities is best for our kid.
Well, that's a pretty far-reaching question. It can have, it can have something to do with the city as a whole. You can look at the rates of school dropouts if you're looking from school to school. I know schools work very hard on that because, like I said earlier, that is part of where their funding comes from. But other than that, I don't really feel qualified to speak on that.
Well, Christy, I believe that the information that you shared today is so beneficial to our listeners and our viewers. I see that constantly we've been having a large audience throughout this show. And I hope that they got a lot out of this. If they want to reach out to you or reach out to someone to help them out with understanding this, how could they do that?
They can get in touch with media@wallethub.com. That's a good way to get in touch with us.
Christy, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on the James Cooley Show. It's your life.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you so much for having me.
No, it's just I think this is so important. So I want to thank you so much for doing this. I gotta always thank my great executive producer and co-host, Dr. Michelle Cooley. I like to thank KCBQ, my great radio station that I've been a part of for almost 5 years. And, I tell you what, AM 1170 The Answer out of San Diego, FM 96.1, The Answer out of San Diego, The Answer out of San Diego. I'm talking about all of the different media and all my different producers. Thank you so much. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our listeners and viewers for tuning in to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. You know what? We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. It's your life. We'll see you then.
Thanks for joining us for the James Cooley Show. It's your life. To learn more about Dr. James Cooley and how you can support the show or become a guest, visit CooleyFoundation.org. Join James for more motivation and inspiration to help you become equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. This has been It's Your Life with Dr. James Cooley, where you learn how to dream big, think big, and be big in everything you do.
It's Your Life is sponsored by James J.